Learn your lesson, Donald. Never provoke Canada. Canada is furious and it is responding in such a powerful way to Donald Trump's latest tariff threats, where Donald Trump has stated he will tariff Canada 50% against Canadian hockey sticks and other items. Canada is now checkmating Donald Trump, and in such a unified way. You have the Premier of British Columbia, David Eby of the NDP party. You have the Premier of Ontario, Doug Ford of the Conservative Party, and at the federal level, Prime Minister Carney, all responding with one unified voice. Canada will not back down. And if Donald Trump does not taco at the end of this 30-day deadline that he's given Canada, Canada will also respond with force. Canada is not going to stop banning U.S. booze. The Canadian people are not going to stop boycotting United States travel and U.S. products. Canada is standing strong, and that was the message in a united way that the premiers and Prime Minister Carney conveyed. For example, David Eby, the Premier of British Columbia, said, you know what? I feel bad for Americans, because if you can't be friends with Canada, then you don't have any friends anywhere at all. Watch this.
I feel sorry for Americans. If you can't be friends with Canada, then you almost certainly do not have a friend anywhere in the world. And that is a very lonely place to be.
More from Premier Eby right here. And he says, you think, Donald, that you can bully us into submission? You are very much mistaken. The idea that you think you will huff and puff and Canada will submit, Canada will never submit, Donald. Play this clip.
And the idea of the president that he can bully us into whatever he wishes is incorrect. We're strong. We are, despite our many debates, united as a country, and we will continue to stand strong. And we will build relationships with those countries at the national level, at the provincial level, that want to have a relationship with us.
More from David Eby right here. Let's play it.
There is not a chance in hell that U.S. alcohol is going back on the shelf in British Columbia. And I'm proud of that. And I know the British Columbians support that.
And then the Premier of British Columbia, David Eby, says, you know what? Doug Ford, the right-wing Conservative Premier of Ontario, he and I, we may disagree on a lot of things. I mean, you have Eby, the more far-left NDP party. Then you have Ford, kind of a far-right guy, who used to be Maple MAGA, by the way, until Donald Trump, tried to take over Canada. And then even Doug Ford stood up to Donald Trump lately. He goes, but Doug Ford and I are united. We have a similar mind on this issue. You cannot embolden the bully. You need to punch the bully in the face. You need to punch the bully in the face, and you need to knock the bully out. Here, play this clip.
I think Doug and I are of a similar mind on this issue. The one way to embolden a bully is to capitulate, and I don't think we should embolden Mr. Trump, who clearly is a bully.
And we heard from Premier Ford of Ontario, who said, we need to go on the offense, not constantly be on the defense. We always need to stand up to the bully. We need to hit him back, and hit him back hard. Play this clip.
If these talks fail in 29 days, we need to hit him back as hard as we can. I'm tired of the bully trying to take our lunch money all the time. We always seem to be on our back heels. We need to be on the offense, not constantly on the defense with President Trump. We need to stand up to the bully, and we need to hit him tariff to tariff all the way across the board. And that's my message to the Prime Minister. We need a plan moving forward.
And of course, we will not lift the booze ban, Doug Ford says. Let's play this clip.
Sounds to me like the booze ban is not going to get lifted by Ontario without the tariffs being lifted on steel.
That is correct. 100%. Again, we have to negotiate through strength, not weakness. And we need to throw everything on the table. But I want to emphasize one more time. It can't always be Ontario. It has to be a Team Canada approach. And that's my message to my great friends, my premier friends, that we have to be united. As I always say, united we stand, divided we fall.
Who's not carrying their weight?
Okay, I'm just, who's not carrying their weight? It just seems like Ontario is always out there, no matter if it's electricity or if it's alcohol or anything else. In manufacturing, Ontario's getting hurt the most in these tariffs. Right across the, no, it's not because of the alcohol ban. This is a broader issue of tariffs right across the board. You know, he wants to continue threatening, and he's nothing but a bully. That's all he is. And you have to stand up to the bullies in the schoolyard or they end up taking your lunch money. And we are going to continue fighting like we've never fought before.
And Doug Ford says, we are an energy powerhouse. We could dismantle the United States if we wanted. And yes, the Canadian people will feel pain in this, of course, but we should be united. We are ready to sacrifice, and we should make the United States squirm. Watch what Ford has to say. Let's play.
I'm sorry, you go ahead.
This latest list,
yes.
What is the economic impact, the hit to Ontario, should this come into effect in 29 days? Have you quantified that? Can you articulate the impact?
What I understand, it's $28 billion across the country. Majority is going to be here in Ontario. That's why we can't roll over. We have to hit back. We have to, rather than be on our back heel, as I said, we have to go forward, take the offense. We are an energy powerhouse, and we could dismantle the U.S. if we wanted to, if we all work together. No matter if it's the electricity, and I'm not speaking for the other provinces, I'm going to be very clear. The potash, the oil, we're their number one customer in the world. They need to feel the pain rather than us constantly feeling the pain.
More from Ford over here. Trump thinks he can bully us, make us roll over. We ain't going to back down. We ain't going to back down. Play this clip.
If he continues to constantly bully us, we can't keep rolling over. We can't keep backing down. We have to go full tilt. We are an energy powerhouse. We have to utilize every tool we have in the toolbox and make sure he feels the pain. And I hate saying the American people because I love the American people, and I know a lot of people down in the U.S. don't agree with President Trump. We need to get a deal. We need to create more jobs. You know, right now, investment is stalled in both countries. But if we get a deal, then people have certainty. They have production and jobs are created. And if not, then people lose their jobs on both sides of the border. So this is critical.
More from EB over here. Let's play it.
This attempt by the president to hurt Canadians to, for some reason, attack our country was entirely predictable. He will probably do it again. And there's no reason to believe that this is the bottom in terms of where he's willing to go.
And then EB says, obviously, the news of the day, Donald Trump levying more tariffs. But to me, it just comes from the fact that he's desperate. He's failing and he's flailing. Play this clip.
Obviously, the news of the day is the president's recent decision to levy more tariffs on Canada for reasons known only to him. I'll say that this feels like an increasingly desperate and flailing approach to relationships with our country.
Did you know that helping dolphins led to the first essential fatty acid discovery in over 90 years? It's called C15, and it's a total game changer for aging healthier. Fatty 15 co-founder Dr. Stephanie Van Watson discovered C15 while working with the U.S. Navy to improve the health of older dolphins. It turns out C15 is a foundational nutrient that actually strengthens our cells. Without it, we develop cellular fragility syndrome, a deficiency that affects 1 in 3 people worldwide, causing our cells to age faster. Fatty 15 repairs age-related damage and protects your cells from breaking down. It's actually shown to have 3 times more cellular benefits than omega-3. By activating pathways that regulate sleep, mood, and metabolism, it helps you feel better now and stay stronger as you get older. In fact, 70% of customers report deeper sleep, calmer moods, and better energy within just 16 weeks. Because we're all aging, healthy aging needs to start now, and Fatty 15 is the science-backed way to do it. I'm a huge fan of Fatty 15, and I've personally felt the benefits. Fatty 15 was developed to support healthy aging for all, from kids to parents to grandparents. That's why award-winning Fatty 15 is now available as pure capsules, delicious apple mint gummies for teens and adults, and yummy berry blast gummies for kids. Fatty 15 is on a mission to support healthy aging for all, including all ages and stages of life. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/Meidas and using code Meidas at checkout. Once again, that's 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/Meidas and using code Meidas at checkout.
And he's clear. He's like, look, we understand the U.S. is a huge market for us. It's not something that Canada can, just replace right away. I mean, it's not impossible, but it's difficult for us to replace. But at the end of the day, if they don't like Canadians, if they want to constantly harass us, bye-bye. See you later. We're not begging you. We're not submitting. We're not doing any of that. Here, play this clip.
I'm not sure how the federal government reaches an agreement with an administration that, as far as I can tell, isn't talking to them. I don't see that the Americans have been engaging with Canada in trade conversations in any meaningful way. And so if the Americans come to the table to have a true discussion, I think that the federal government should absolutely be there. The Prime Minister and his team should be there. But if the Americans don't want to talk, and they want to impose tariffs like this, then all of our energy should be going to other places. The United States is a huge market that is impossible for Canada to replace. But at the end of the day, if they don't want Canadian goods, if they don't like Canada, there's not a lot we can do about that. So let's focus our energy on the places that are really excited to trade with us, and build up and take this generational opportunity so that our kids are not put in the same situation of being too dependent on the United States.
And it's notable because earlier in the day, Donald Trump was like, oh, Canada needs us for survival. Canada's like, no, we don't. F you. Here, play this clip of Donald.
Their leadership from Trudeau to the current leadership, in all fairness to them, they need us to survive. Without us, there's no way they can survive. But they've been very, very tough over a period of the last 50 years, actually.
By the way, when I show you this, reminds me of WTF America. Pre-order it right now. The book I wrote with my brothers. Make sure you hit the QR code. You can pre-order. It certainly helps if you pre-order it, by the way. So if you're able to pre-order, I dedicated it to you also. More from EB right here. Let's play it.
The approach of the U.S. administration has been predictable in a sense that they are continually trying to find creative ways to try to attack Canada's economy. There's no question about that. The Canadian strength has that we have been very clear. The Prime Minister has been very clear. He's had my full support in this, that no deal is better than a bad deal with the Americans. We should not, out of a sense of desperation or anxiety or what's going to come next, bow down to this president's attempt to put pressure on Canadians. We need to recognize that what we have here in this country has value. It has more value now around the world than it has ever had. And that is because of the actions of the president, both at home and in his adventures overseas. That has been very clear to me in my trade missions consistently. And so as Canadians, what we have has value. The world wants it. As British Columbians, what we have has value. We need to be confident in that. And it has value to the Americans. And the list of exemptions that the president has drawn up shows that very clearly. So we have leverage here. We don't need to jump into anything that would be a bad deal for Canadians. And we need to hold out to make sure that we're protecting those sectors like softwood in British Columbia, like auto in Ontario, to support Canadian families from coast to coast.
More from EB right here when he's asked, has the federal government asked you to put U.S. alcohol back on the shelves? Are you being pressured by Carney? And he's like, no, not at all. Play this clip.
Has the federal government asked you to put U.S. alcohol back on the shelf?
No, they have not.
Are you concerned that that's going to be an ask this week?
I am not concerned.
And if they do ask, what are you going to say?
I will be happy to engage in conversations with my colleagues across the country and the Prime Minister on the issue of U.S. alcohol on the shelf. But the idea that after facing yet another attack on our economy from the president, that this would be the moment to capitulate, I think would be the wrong approach.
Prime Minister Carney makes it very clear, I don't make any decision about U.S. booze on the shelves of the various provinces. That's handled at the provincial level. I ain't dealing with that. Play this clip.
Should the provinces put booze back on the shelves? Will that help with these negotiations?
It's part of a broader. The provinces individually took those decisions in response to a series of tariffs that were put in place, and also threats to our sovereignty. Those measures have been supported by provincial citizens, and they're supported, and it's indicative in terms of other consumption habits, if I can put it that way, of Canadians, where Canadians have traveled. Other things that are on the shelves but aren't being purchased. The decision to change that, first and foremost, will be taken by the provinces themselves, each individually, and should only be taken, in my judgment, as part of an overall agreement. And that's what we'll work to accomplish.
More from Carney over here, who says, I'm not looking to do fake deals with Donald Trump. Canada's not looking to do partial deals. We either do a deal or we don't do a deal. But we're not going to do these fake deals. Let's play this clip.
You recently made concessions in regards to the Gordie Howe Bridge. You rolled back the Digital Services Tax, the Online Streaming Act. Are you going to make more concessions in order to get the Americans to the table?
We're at the table. We'll be having those more intense discussions. And, what the issue has been for us has been a comprehensive agreement. We understand the U.S. approach to strategic sectors, what they call strategic sectors. They are strategic sectors, but under their definition, 232 definitions, that's aluminum, that's forest products, that's steel, that's automobiles, pharmaceuticals, copper, others. But those first four being the most important for the Canadian economy. And that we don't want a partial agreement. We want something that addresses those sectors as well, so that there's a viable approach going forward. In our view, and the view of Madame Sheinbaum and the Mexican authorities, there are solutions that evolve CUSMA so that those sectors are globally competitive to the benefit of workers. Of course, we're working for workers in Canada first and foremost, but also workers across the other two economies.
Prime Minister Carney then says, look, if those American tariffs, those so-called 338 tariffs on our hockey sticks and other stuff, they come into effect, we will consider all options and we will respond. And by all options, I mean all options. Play this clip.
Look, we have a situation where these, the American tariffs, the 338 tariffs, will come into effect in 29 days. And we will look at all options in terms of how we would respond if they do come into effect. That's part of what we'll be discussing with premiers. Also in parallel, as I just said, that I'd spoken with the president. We agreed to intensify discussions. We'll begin that right away. And this is part of the negotiation. So the first objective is to get a comprehensive agreement that benefits, obviously, both countries, that's consistent with CUSMA. CUSMA as it is and CUSMA as it will be, and we'll work towards that. But in parallel, when I say we will do whatever it takes and keep all options, obviously, it's a comprehensive point.
And more for Prime Minister Carney right here, who says, look, we've made proposals to Trump. We've made constructive, detailed CUSMA proposals, the Canadian-U.S.-Mexico agreement. They want to read it. We're trying to reach compromises that are fair deals. We give a little bit, we reach in the middle. We try to figure out solutions. We've done our due diligence. If they just want to whine and behave like babies, go do it. Whine and behave like babies, but keep your wine out of Canada. Keep your booze out of Canada, and we'll keep our tourists out of the United States. And so when you want to talk about no tax on tips and all of these things, guess what? Those hospitality workers who may get no tax on tips, they don't have jobs right now because of you. You've destroyed the hospitality industry, Donald. Listen to what Carney says. Let's play it.
Throughout this time, we have made a series of comprehensive and detailed proposals about how to modernize CUSMA, recognizing the transition that the U.S. is underway in the international and all its trading relationships, including with Canada and Mexico. I spoke with President Trump earlier this morning. We agreed to intensify negotiations in the coming weeks, and the team and myself look forward to doing that. As always, Canadians, governments, business, labor will stand together to build Canada strong and to have a trading relationship with our North American partners that benefits everyone.
There you have it, everybody. Let me know what you think Hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Breaking news right now, my brothers and I wrote a book. It's called WTF America. And well, doesn't that just say it all? It comes out officially this October, but you can pre-order your copy today. Just scan the QR code or click the link in the description below.